What's up guys, my name is Liam, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new LethalGamingGear Saturn. This is a new revamped version. It has our new Japanese foam base. I do talk about the Saturn Pro a lot on my channel. It is one of my favorite mouse pads. So how does this stack up? What is the comparison between the two? And more importantly, is this going to be the perfect gaming mouse pad for you? Let's check it out. Before we get started today, I did want to let you know this was sent out to me by Lethal Gaming Gear. However, everything you'll be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. This did arrive to my front door in this cylinder style packaging, so it is rolled up, but with this version of the Saturn, once I laid it flat on my desk, I didn't have any noticeable issues with it curling up on the edges. This comes in two colorway options. You get either a black or a red. The version I have is 500 millimeters in width by 500 millimeters in height, and it sits at 3 millimeters in thickness. They also have a 490 millimeter width by 420 millimeter, and then they also have 1000 by 500 and a 1200 by 550, so plenty of options there depending on what you're looking for. The stitching all the way around the edges is done pretty well. I do have this one spot up here in the top left corner where it does look like it is fraying a little bit, but aside from that, it does sit up slightly above the surface. It is really thin, however, and as I was messing around moving my arm left to right across it, there isn't a whole lot of a noticeable texture there. It is pretty soft, so even though it is slightly raised above the surface, there was never a time where it bothered me or irritated my forearm during my gameplay. I do feel like, however, this is one area where the Pro does actually have a slight bit of an advantage over the original version. The stitching on this, it seems just a little bit smaller, and the actual surface on my Saturn Pro is slightly raised up above the stitching itself. And just like the Pro, they do have their logo down here in the bottom right hand corner. It is slightly raised up on the surface, but it is very thin. If you were to move your mouse down here, you can feel it along the skates. The brand new Japanese foam base that they're using on all their new standard versions of their pads, I'm actually a huge fan of this foam. It's like very lightweight and airy, but at the same time, sitting at 3 millimeters in thickness, you know, obviously it sits pretty thin. It does have a little bit of more stiffness to it, so it does feel a bit more firm. Even though the differences in performance between these are very minimal, I do feel like that if you are somebody that prefers more of a mid-style base, you're looking for something a little bit more firm, then this standard Saturn could be a little bit of a better option for you. If you're looking for something that just feels a little bit heavier, a little bit more premium, you're looking for a little bit more control and stopping power, if you like to push in the pad and you like a little bit more give, or even when you're coming to a stop, if you like to, same thing, push into it and just get a little bit more of an abrupt stop, I do feel like you kind of do get those properties just slightly a little bit more with the Saturn Pro. All right guys, so that about wraps things up on the Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn. I don't currently have the very first version of the Saturn Pro. However, I was over at Gen 3D Tech's studio this weekend, and he still has the original Saturn Pro, so I was messing around with it, going back and A/B testing it to the older version and the newer version of the Saturn Pro. And I do feel like the older version all around, it does have more dynamic friction, and it just feels much more like a control pad and a bit slower. I myself personally, I do prefer these newer versions of the Saturn. I definitely think that we're checking out. They have a little bit less of the dynamic friction and static friction, so the overall glide feels a little more quick to me, a little bit more consistent. And in my opinion, for my play style, I do feel like it is better to use, especially amongst a more variety style of games, whether you're playing slower or faster paced shooters. The differences between this and the Saturn Pro, they're a bit minimal, so I would just kind of go based off of what you prefer, mostly with that base, just having a little bit of different properties. All right guys, so if you have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you have enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.